Let us strive to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan. Those words of Abraham Lincoln's after the American Civil War are said to be one of General Gowon's favourite inspirations. It's the way he wants to reunite Nigeria. Sadly, after one day's hurried tour of what was once Biafra, it must be said that the reality does not yet match up to the promises the General has made. It's 10 days since Owerri fell to the 3rd Marine Commando Division. Far from being confined to barracks as ordered, soldiers are everywhere, and the defeated Igbos paid their resplendent in his superbly polished boots, Colonel Apula Akinrinade dealt with the allegations against his men.
There's no, if they say there's rape or looting or anything like that, this is customary with any war. But this is the barest minimum, and officers and NCOs are doing everything that is humanly possible to stop it.
What action have you taken against it?
Well, a soldier was caught red-handed raping a lady, and he was shot on the spot. He was ordered to be shot by the GOC.
Do you think that's having an effect on your men?
It will have, yes. It will have.
Food supplies have only just arrived in Owerri under the Army's protection, and it seems sometimes for their use. The Nigerian Red Cross, here represented by an Austrian team, has only 3 trucks to deliver and distribute food to what it fears may be 1 million people in the Owerri area who are in need. Incredibly, the international military observers seemed satisfied that the post-war situation was satisfactory. They appeared not to take the allegations against federal troops seriously.
Have you listened to any accusations of rape and looting? None at all?
No, not at all. Been with us today. Have you seen no evidence of looting?
I don't know whether it's looting or whether it's somebody that's throwing the stuff away.
Looting and rape?
Beg pardon?
Have you heard anything about rape?
No. I'm sure there has been some.
You heard that officers have been...
We're not trying to say that all armies don't do this, Brigadier, but we're simply... I tend to find it rather curious that you tend to deny that this occurs at all, whereas...
I'm not denying that it occurs.
But you don't particularly ask for it, do you?
No.
Because I know it occurs.
Yeah, well, that's...
Have you seen anything that differs from what you put in your last report?
No, we've seen no reason to alter our report. There will be additions to it, but not alterations.
What's your impression? It was apparently the Igbo's own fault that they were not being fed.
We can go if the authorities will. For example, all the way up and down the road, there are people with, carrying food on their heads. I mean, there doesn't appear to be any restriction of movement in this area.
No.
Therefore, why stay here if there's food 5 miles down the road?
The reason is this: if you carry the food while coming out, a hungry man will pounce on you again and take it from you. The whole place will be rowdy.
Go if you wish. I know you've got your problems. I'm not trying to make things easy for you. I'm trying to find what the facts are. I would have said go in a gang so that you've got protection. Go 5 miles down the road and collect your food. Now, if the federal forces say you can't do this, that's another story. But at the present moment, you haven't told me that there's any restriction of food.
They have not done so.
For the lucky few, the federal victory brings no hardship. 10 days ago, Cyprian Ekwenzi was directing Biafran foreign propaganda. Now he stands revealed as a staunch federal supporter.
Well, the situation, as far as I can see it, improves from day to day. At the very first, there was a general scramble away, and gradually, from the way that the troops are behaving, people are gradually beginning to have some confidence and to believe that after...
For the ordinary Igbo painfully trying to return home, life is harder than for Ekwenzi. There is transport for a few, but others must walk, and see federal soldiers making free both with their belongings and sometimes with their women. By the standards of African conflict, the Igbos are lucky. They've not been massacred as they were in the north before the war, nor is this likely to happen. But General Gowon's promise to embrace them as brothers is not yet being met. Understandable pride demands that relief should come only through federal means. The distribution system set up during the last 30 months will not be used. The Igbos already believe their new masters unable or unwilling to fulfill General Gowon's noble intentions. But Biafra's sun has set. They're in federal hands. The outside world can only try to persuade those hands to deal mercifully and more speedily with the defeated. This is Uli Airport. More than the fall of any of Biafra's main towns, Enugu, Port Harcourt, at the last Owerri, the collapse of Uli meant the end of Biafra. For it was here that almost every night up to 300 tons of food for the starving and arms to sustain secession came into this rebel stronghold. That's why the federal side will now not allow it to be used to bring in relief supplies, because it's too closely identified with the whole concept of Biafra. I remember it, of course, in the dark at night, as every other journalist and relief worker who flew in here does. It was pouring with rain when we landed, and I remember that the trees on either side of the wing seemed to rush past incredibly close to us, lit very dimly by the improvised oil flares at the side of the runway. And then while the porters unloaded the relief supplies, we went through the rather comic customs proceedings. And really that's all I've got left. Biafra stamp in my passport, a 5-shilling Biafran note. It's all over, for good or ill. This is Richard Lindley, East Central State, Federal Nigeria.